Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are San Diego.
Padres have won the last 4 games against San Francisco.
Talk about a tale of two cities.
The 23-year-old from the Dominican Republic.
Luis Perdomo on the mound tonight for the Padres.
It's almost as if Madison Bumgarner feels that every pitch is a strike. Yeah. Everything should be his way.
Bumgarner getting nastier as this game goes on.
Man, frustrated again.
Strike 3. There's strikeout number 7. It's another brilliant performance on the mound. Madison Bumgarner. Deep drive to right center field. He got into that one. It's way back, and that ball is out of here. Touch 'em all. Schimpf has done it again. Oh, my. How about that for high drama last night? Number 19 for Ryan Schimpf as the Padres scored 5 times in the 9th inning and upset the San Francisco Giants by a score of 6-4. It was a dagger for these Giants fighting to get in the playoffs, and for the Padres, an improbable win.
You talk about winning on the road, especially here like San Francisco when the team is in the hunt for the wild card to make the playoffs. That was a kick in the gut, just sucked the air out of AT&T Park last night. These fans were just amazed. They were looking at one another. What just happened? Great win for the Friars.
A bloop and a bloop and a bloop and a blast.
That's right, absolutely. It was great last night. You know what, the one thing I look at this inning, Dick? First of all, it's closer by committee for the Giants. They don't have Santiago Garcia. They're trying to string together outs. In this 9th inning rally, 5 runs. They only struck out once. They put the ball in play. A couple of broken bats hits here. Station-to-station baseball. They played hard. They played gritty. They played gutty.
A bases loaded walk helped out. Then this tapper up the middle could have been a double play.
Off the glove, changes direction. Now the only out they can get is at first base. And when I look at Ryan Schimpf coming to the plate, do you know they threw him 4 fastballs? Now 1 breaking ball to Ryan Schimpf. And what has he done the damage with this year? On what pitch?
That fastball right there at the letters.
And it paid off last night for the San Diego Padres.
So a great victory for the Padres, and as the Giants fans described it, ugly for them. But here's a man who's been beautiful on the mound, Madison Bumgarner.
And maybe they can get to him. The last 5 starts, a 5.5 ERA. But Madison Bumgarner is that starter that gives the Giants a chance every single time he goes out there. It's the confidence of this team. They're in the stretch. He's been in those times when back is up against the wall, and he's been their guy.
He's going for his 100th win as a Giants today. An amazing victory last night for the Padres, and the W goes to a very unexpected source. Julie Alexandria has that story when we come back.
Well, groundskeeper, no more. What a mess. It was a gooey celebration for right-handed pitcher Jake Smith as he earned his first career win last night against not only the team he used to be a groundskeeper for, but also the team that originally drafted him back in the 48th round a few years ago. Jake said it was the kind of event that dreams are made of, something he will remember for the rest of his life, as he told me after the game.
I lost my voice. I can't even talk right now. Screaming so much for Shrimpy and all the guys. I mean, that's fun. That's what you play for. I mean, to get a win like that on their field and help spoil the party, I mean, that's awesome.
What does it say about this team being able to come back and rally in the ninth the way you guys did?
We don't quit. I mean, nobody. You know, we've not everybody's had the season they wanted to, obviously, but I mean, we haven't quit. That comes from up top, you know, with Greeny and everything that he teaches us. We don't quit. I mean, we played the last out, last strike. I mean, that's what we're down to tonight, and we got the job done. That's awesome.
One of the takeaways that Jake takes away from him from last night's win, obviously, in addition to all of the hundreds of text messages he received, he decided to keep the lineup card in hopes that all the guys can sign it. And he also got a big congratulatory hug from Suarez, the starting pitcher for the Giants last night, who said he was so incredibly proud of him. Of course, the two of them were together in the minor leagues in the Giants system. Well, when we come back, the Padres taking on the Giants for Game 3. The gentleman in the studio will break down the comeback kids' big comeback from last night. Stay tuned.
You got a 3-run lead in the ninth, you take it, and you know these are tough. There's no getting around it at this stage, and yeah, it's a punch in the stomach. But you know, you got to bounce back. It's baseball, and we got to come out and be ready to go tomorrow.
Kind of the same fight they've shown all year. I know the results don't show in the win-loss column that way, but it's been a very resilient club. I don't think there's been any long stretches of losses in a row. I think guys bounce back. They show up ready to play the next day, and you know, from my perspective, that's all you can ask of them, to give what they got every single day, and they did that all the way to the end. Some great at-bats there, obviously, in the ninth inning, capped off by Ryan Shemp's home run. Felt good about the whole game, honestly. Like, there was fight, even if you don't get that hit. Like, you battle all the way back in the ninth inning to be within 1 run and have the winning run on base. That's what you want to do on a daily basis, and then some of these you come out on top.
Andy Green finding the positive in a team that hasn't given up. They played hard for him all season long, although not as many wins as we all would like. Let's look at our pick the stick. The standings are interesting. Our 2-time reigning champion Mark Grant with 308 points, but both Mike Pomerantz and Mark Swinney just 10 points behind. And there are the picks today. We'll see how that sorts out. You may have a chance to win a round of golf, foursome of golf at Sequan Golf Resort. Madison Bumgarner ready to go to work on this beautiful afternoon in San Francisco, AT&T Park. John Jay leads it off for the Padres and fouls off the first pitch of the game. Very chilly on Monday and warmer yesterday and delightful today. Jay just a couple of ticks under 300, the top batting average for the Padres. Bumgarner. There are a few around the league you can call the true ace of a staff. He's one of them. Looking for his 100th victory in his career, just age 27. 67 degrees. And the breeze blowing from left to right, just opposite of what we've seen the first 2 games. Waved at and missed. Breaking ball.
Well, with Madison Bumgarner on the hill this afternoon, he's out on a mission like every 5th day, especially after the 2 losses. He's got some work to do to try to win one for the Giants.
Ryan Blakeney calling the balls and strikes. Kolpa, Conroy, and crew chief Meals on the bases. A fan error. You've heard the reaction in the background is so close to a souvenir. Ryan Shemp rewarded with a day off after his dramatic home run with 2 strikes and 2 outs in the 9th last night. Rolled by the mound. Panic there at second base. Makes the play. Check the Padres lineup, brought to you by Toyota. After Jay, it's Luis Sardinas. Will Myers batting 3rd. Jan Solarte with the 15 home runs is the cleanup hitter. Then Alex Dickerson trying to break out of an 0-for-17 slump. Derek Norris as the catcher. Adam Rosales at second base, bats 7th in front of Alexi Amarista in right field as the starter. Perdomo on the mound. Sardinas, he had a big triple and a single in the win 4-0 on Monday, and last night contributed with 2 more hits. Drove in the first run of the game, and his infield hit kept things alive in the 9th inning as the Padres rallied from 4-1 down and won it 6-4.
Yeah, I think if the Padres can avoid the strikeout this afternoon against Madison Bumgarner, put the ball in play, I like their chances. They've gotten to Bumgarner before.
That one slapped foul down the right field line.
He comes right after you. He challenges hitters.
Against the Padres, he's 10-6 lifetime. Another foul. Sardinas getting some good hacks. Padres leave after the game this afternoon, head to Denver, off day tomorrow, and then a 3-game series with the Rockies beginning on Friday night. The Giants will host the St. Louis Cardinals for 4 games beginning tomorrow. Line drive through the hole left side, and Sardinas has another hit. That's 5 base hits in the series. How about the scouting report on the talented left-hander?
Well, the 27-year-old making his 31st start of the year. He's a battler. He throws strikes. He challenges hitters. He's up in the zone with the fastball. He'll make you chase. And he will pound that strike zone. And sometimes, you know, we've talked about the last 5 for Madison Bumgarner. Sometimes wild in the zone. He was wild in the zone with that breaking ball there to Sardinius, and he singled to left.
Brings up Will Myers. Myers with an RBI last night on the bases loaded walk. He was 1 for 3, a walk and a hit batsman. Strike 1. Solarte after Myers. As we've mentioned in the series, he's 1 home run shy of becoming the first Padre to be 25-25-25. Ground ball by the third baseman. Gillespie into the left field corner, and running all the way is Sardinius. The ball comes out to Pagan, a kind carom for the Giants, and that forces Sardinius to hold up at third on a ringing double off the bat of Will Myers. He had that one ripped by the third baseman before he could react.
Looked like a cut fastball. Now remember, the Sardinius' hit was on a big looping breaking ball. Will Myers out in front of this one, diving is Gillespie, and everybody's off and running. Getting to him early, 2 runners in scoring position. Once again, putting the ball in play. Hitting the ball solidly this inning.
If that ball goes all the way to the corner to the foul pole, then Sardinius could have scored, but it took a nice bounce back to Pagan. And so it's second and third with 1 out, and Jan Solarte steps up. 67 runs batted in this year. Breaking ball inside. You could hear Bumgarner grunting with the effort on that delivery.
And he's going to be 90-91 on the fastball. He's not overpowering. It's the breaking stuff that can get you in the location of that fastball.
Infield back. Although Belt, the first baseman, way off the line, he might come to the plate if the ball's hit sharply to him. Ground ball to short. The play will be to first base, and the Padres have a run, 1-0 as Sardinius scores. RBI Solarte, number 68.
See what a little game of pepper can do for you. A couple of hits against Bumgarner and already on the board.
Here's the Giants defense this afternoon. Pagan in left, Span in center, and Hunter Pence the right fielder. Gillespie and Crawford on the left side. Panic the second baseman, Belt at first, and Posey behind the plate for Bumgarner. So Myers out at second, 2 away, and the Padres on the board early. A good sign indeed. They're 42-23 when they score first. Alex Dickerson. Things have been tough for him. And he fouls that back. Last night went 0 for 5. Oh for 8 in the series.
Hey, this is part of being a big leaguer, right? For this series, you got to face guys like this. If you want to be an everyday guy, a lefty against a lefty, you're going to get these at bats.
Looked as if he was trying to go to left field on that last swing. And he hits that high to center field. Pretty good distance, but Span has a lot of room out there and tucks away the final out. The Padres on a single. Sardinius, Myers double, Solarte ground out, lead 1-0. Life's better when we're connected. By Petco, where the healthy pets go. By Smart Center of San Diego, home of the 2016 redesigned Smart 4.2, the ultimate city car. And by Mercury Insurance. We're on a mission to save you money. Log on to mercuryinsurance.com today. So the Padres strike first with a run in the top half of the first. Here come the Giants. Denard Span to lead it off, and here's the lineup for Bruce Bochy, brought to you by Hyundai. Span, Pagan, and Posey the first three. Crawford hitting cleanup, then Pence has been red hot. Belt at first base, then Panic, Gillespie, and Bumgarner. And watch out, Bumgarner, he's like a second cleanup hitter. He has 14 career homers, 3 this year. Span at 260, 10 home runs, and he's 3 for 6 against Perdomo. Soft fly back to short. Sardinhas is there. 1 away. Padres defense is brought to you by your San Diego County Ford dealers. And that has John Jay out there in center field. And he is flanked by Dickerson in left and Alexei Amarista in right field, if you can find him out there. Solarte and Sardinhas at third and short, with Rosales at second. Myers the first baseman. Derek Norris behind the plate for Perdomo.
Well, one thing for sure with Johnny J out center field, he's going to be directing traffic a lot out there, helping the corner outfielders.
First pitch right through the wickets. Ball 1 to Angel Pagan.
There's John. Already he's communicating with Alexei Amarista.
That's a lot of real estate out there in right center between Jay and Amarista. Perdomo low, 2-0.
How about another look at Luis Perdomo? Boy, what a surprise it's been to watch this kid develop right before our eyes. He pounds the strike zone with sinkers. If he can avoid the walks, I think he should have a pretty good outing. Trust Derek Norris, his catcher, and his defense. Errorless baseball in this series for the San Diego Padres.
2-1. And we mentioned the large amount of territory out in right center field makes it all the more remarkable. The home run by Schimpf last night. Not many hit it out there. Lifts that foul out of play. If you pull the ball, yes, home runs here at AT&T. It's not a hitter's ballpark. It's a pitcher's park. But to hit the ball, well, it's 421 to the niche there where the right field wall meets the right center field bleachers, and he hit it into those bleachers at night. I mean, that was an amazing clout. Strike 3 called, and Pagan bows to the first punch out from Perdomo. How about our keys to the game, Mark Grant, brought to you by our San Diego Honda dealers.
All right, well, the big picture is you got to go for the sweep, right? So how do you do that? Part of it is make Bum mad again. They got to him earlier in the season when Bumgarner took a loss. Quality for Perdomo. How about a quality start from the right-hander?
So you want 6 innings at least.
At least. And we know he can do that.
Buster Posey, the all-star catcher. He's 2 for 3 in his limited at-bats against Perdomo.
There's Boach and that poser here. We'll get to the Padres today.
Oh, he had to go to the something to soothe the stomach lining after that loss last night. Well, there, you see incredible wins and very difficult losses, and that had to be as tough as any suffered by the Giants all year. They were 1 strike away from winning it. Ground ball up the middle. Sardinhas ranging far, bobbles the ball, and still gets him with a strong throw. A 1-2-3 inning for Perdomo. 1-0 Padres going to the second. All right, thank you, Mike. The Cubs shooting for a 100-win season. They need 8 more. Padres 1-0 lead. Second inning. Derek Norris, Adam Rosales, then Alexei Amarista. Norris had a couple of hits last night. Scored 2 runs. Up the middle. Crawford the Gold Glove. 1 away. That'll send Adam Rosales to the plate. Pinch hit last night and struck out. Yeah, a lot of interesting side stories to the game last night. Jake Smith getting his first major league win and came in. He couldn't throw a strike and hit a batter, then walked the next batter down 4 pitches and fell behind the next. Got a line out and then a double play and goes into the dugout. The Padres score 5 the next inning and he has a big league win.
That's great. And how about the interview with Julie after the game? You know what? I started getting emotional when Jake was talking to Julie after the game.
Yeah,
you could tell he was getting choked up a little bit. I mean, this is a great story about Jake Smith.
Well, it's you remember your first win. How can you not be emotional? It's the big leagues. You got a W. Let's go back to mid-July. Rosales at home against Bumgarner. Takes him deep to left field. One of his 9 home runs this year.
I'd like to see another one of those sprints possibly for Adam Rosales, the way he rounds the bases after hitting a home run.
Taking all the way on that last pitch. It's 3-1. Excuse me, swing and a foul ball. It's interesting on the fastballs. Bumgarner so far no grunting on the curveball. So in a way he's tipping off his breaking pitch.
Boy, if you can pick that up, huh? And when you talk about the selection, Dick, the fastball, they're hitting 244 off of it. He's about half the time. It's that cut fastball and that curveball that when he gets ahead, he can bury into the right-handed hitters. That's what makes him so successful. Only 117 off that number 2.
Full count. And a line drive foul. And that one shatters the lumber. So back to the woodpile goes Rosales. Get one with a hit in it.
Yeah.
1 out. Top of the second here in sunny San Francisco.
Beautiful day, huh?
Oh, it's a beautiful city.
It really is.
So much to like. I mean, fans here certainly like and love their baseball. This will be the 479th consecutive sellout. Ball 4, and Rosales works Bumgarner for the first walk of the day. With 1 out, it'll bring up Alexei Amarista. Curveball, he grunted, right?
Sounded like it. Could hear it all the way up here.
Amarista entered the game last night to play in right field. Had a single, 1 for 2.
Not the best move from Bumgarner. So if the Padres are going to put something on this afternoon, it's probably going to be on that first movement of that kick leg of Bumgarner. Off and running.
High fly ball left field. Pagan staring up into the sunny skies. Glasses down, has the second out. How about this topsy-turvy season for, well, all of baseball, but for these two teams? Giants win 9 in a row. And then the Padres now have won 5 in a row since the All-Star break. In fact, they started the second half of the season by sweeping the Giants. That was the start of their downfall. They had a nice lead after the first half, and since the All-Star game, 20 and 34, worst in the National League.
Yeah, I think last night's game was kind of a microcosm of the Giants, what they've been going through recently. Lack of the offense, and also closer by committee, the bullpen. That wasn't the case early in the season.
Bullpen has really been a disaster. 6 of the last 10 opportunities, blown saves. That's just in September.
Yeah.
Perdomo fouls that away, and the count is 2 strikes on the Padre pitcher. Bochy, tough to stay strong when you have to digest a loss like last night.
Dick, you mentioned it last night. Very crowded in that Giants dugout.
Swing and a miss. There's the first Mad Bum strikeout. Middle of the second, 1-0 for the visitors.
A lot of people receive information but can't put it into practice real quickly. He's a guy that's like, as soon as you tell him something, he's capable of doing it. I think he repeats his delivery as well as anybody we have. You know, it's an upper tier of the game in Major League Baseball. Repeating his delivery, delivering each pitch from the same arm slot. He doesn't vary much. So since he's got such refined mechanics, he can put into practice the thing that you're asking him to do. And he's hungry to learn. I think all those things play in his favor.
Well, he is hungry to learn, and one of the things that he has been learning, actually off the field, guys, is the Dominican right-hander has been working on his English. He and Darren Balsley have a pact, and that is next season, if Perdomo comes back to the club speaking fluent English, Balsley said he will take Rosetta Stone lessons and he will learn fluent Spanish. He says his Spanish is a little bit broken right now, but he said if Perdomo comes back fluent English, he will go ahead and really put in the time and effort to get his Spanish right.
Yeah, that's a win-win.
Yeah, that's great.
2-0. He falls behind Crawford. Brandon Crawford leading off the second. You know, going back to the Andy Green soundbite praising Perdomo, if you didn't know he was talking about Perdomo, you would have thought he was talking about Bumgarner. You know, it's such high praise.
Yeah, Darren Balsley just can't say enough about Luis. And that's invaluable when a kid has that type of mindset.
If this isn't good, walk the leadoff man. That's in your keys to the game. You just can't walk too many of these Giants, especially that first hitter in an inning. Brings up Hunter Pence. Pence had an RBI double and a walk last night. 1 for 4, 7-game hitting streak. And in the 7 games, he has 15 hits. Infield set for 2.
Oh.
5 straight out of the strike zone.
Yeah, time to make an adjustment. See if he flips up a breaking ball. Remember, it happened last night. Jake Smith was on the mound having difficulty throwing strikes. Andy Green motioned to Derek Norris. Hey, flip up a breaking ball. How about a slider here?
And it's a strike.
Fastball.
93. Now he's the heart and soul of this team. Keeps the rest of his teammates on their toes. When they're down, lifts them up. And by his play alone is inspiring to the Giants and has been in their success of late. Over but low. Backs out, checks his third base coach. Roberto Kelly. See if there's a little run and hit in the works here. Crawford does not go, and what a cut. He had that one aimed for the Coke bottle out in left field bleachers.
Had a good pitch to rip at, just work underneath a little bit. There's that bottle you're talking about alongside the glove.
Actually, it's a kid slide within the bottle. And the four-fingered mitt that we've talked about. Swing and a miss and a weak wave. He wasn't ready for the breaking ball, was he? Second strikeout, Perdomo.
Almost looked like a two-part swing. Almost like, you know, he wanted to check it. He you know what? He straightened him up, and then he realized, oh, this ball has a chance to maybe catch the strike zone. I better take an offer at it, maybe foul it off. I'll tell you, that's a bad-looking swing. I've seen better swings on a playground.
Yeah, but the next time up, he'll take the same swing and double into the right field corner. Did that last time. Brandon Belt, the first baseman, didn't play last night. Sufferings with a flu or cold symptoms, and he lines that one to left field. It falls in front of Dickerson. The second base goes Crawford. That's the first Giants hit. And with one away, Joe Panik will be the batter. Ten home runs for the second baseman. Product of St. John's University in Queens, New York. Infield sets for two. Ball one. That's where he wanted it, right at the knees on the corner.
Kind of got squeezed a little bit on that first pitch breaking ball. Trying to induce that grounder to the left-handed hitting Panik.
A little trouble with his control here in the second. He walked Crawford to lead it off. Several pitches to Hunter Pence before he struck him out. Now 2-0 to Belt.
See, here's where the maturity comes in for Luis Perdomo. Runners on. Runner in scoring position. 2-0. He needs to make a big league pitch here to go 2-1.
He does. High strike. Well in the zone.
Now I look at where the glove was and where he wanted it from Norris. He did not hit his spot, but it works to the advantage of Perdomo because that's not a 2-0 pitch that Panik wants to really rip at because it was up and in a little bit. Right.
Two on, one away here in the second. Padres 1, Giants nothing. 3-1.
Flying open just a little bit, and the release point not good out in front.
Crowder Gillespie, third baseman, is next. Line drive, base hit. Here comes Crawford around third. He will score. The throw to third. It's tied at 1. Panik delivers his 57th run batted in, and that leadoff walk, sure enough, comes around to score.
Well, he went down and got this fastball, and once again, he's been trying to pepper away to Joe Panik. Third pitch in the at-bat that he did not hit his location, and this ball's rifled to center field. John Jay doing the right thing. I mean, Crawford's going to score, so he gets it into third base to keep those runners at first and second.
Yeah, the Giants tie it up here in the second. Gillespie with 2 men on and 1 out. Batting .244, 5 home runs. He started in the Monday night game, went 1 for 4. Breaking ball to start this hitter, and it's in there for a strike. The Giants in September are 5-7, and that includes a 3-game sweep in Arizona before this series. Line drive, foul. First row down the right field line, and that fan wisely brought his glove. Belt at second, Panik at first. Perdomo ahead on the count, 2 strikes. Huge hole right center field. In the dirt, good block by Norris.
You know, another thing that Perdomo has been trying to work on is holding runners, not just one look at second base. I'm not saying that's the situation here, but you got a 1 look, you got a 2 look, you got to vary your times, almost like a runner on first base. Hey, step off, fake a throw to second base. Nothing wrong with that.
Especially with 1 out, you'd be aware. No outs, 2 outs. To steal the third, not so appealing, but with 1 out, that's the time.
And with the way the infield is shifted, they're shifting the pole a little bit. Sardinius is behind Belt at second base. You put on a timing play, possibly. And once again, you can spin and not throw, just to make that runner aware.
Taking a lot of time picking up the sign. Now he's ready. Two and two.
They're kind of flying open. I've noticed the pitchers that have been up and away and down and away to lefties, the front side, he's ended up over towards the first base line, not staying on line towards his target.
And certainly Darren Balsley sees exactly what you are noticing.
And Darren will plainly say the phrase, hey, stay on line, go to your target. You know, once that ball leaves your hand, if you're on line, you've got a pretty good chance of hitting your spot.
And the count stays at 2-2. Like throwing darts, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you kind of, you almost guide your hand. You put your hand, left hand forward, right hand, try to hit that bullseye. Oh no, I'm sorry, Mom. I didn't mean to hit you.
Oh, you hear the cat squeal, right? Kind of. You know, if you keep the ball, if you start to spin off here and the ball is going to leave here, if you stay to your target out front and then you fall off, that's fine. Once that ball leaves your hand, it might be going way out here, but
2-2. Line drive to the first baseman. Myers back to second. A double play. Boy, that Myers, does he catch and throw in a hurry and a strike? That was a play last night on a 3-2 double play. Quick reaction, quick face, strong arm, accurate to second, and a big double play. night, a forgotten play was this one. The score was 4-2 at the time, and Solardi hit the ball back to the mound, deflected to Panic. Now Panic was going to cover this. That would have been a double play ball had it not been deflected, and the game would have been over 4-2. The Giants win. That little play allowed it to continue, and the Padres then eventually got the 3-run home run from Ryan Schimpf. And you think about the Giants, boy, you know, the blue pits that cost them in Chicago. Look at that. They hit a bullet there for a line drive out. Things are not going well for Bruce Bochy's team.
No, in the years when they won the whole ball of wax, they did have, you know, they had a good team, don't get me wrong, but things were going their way. And when you look at that play last night, you know what that is?
What?
That's a big league hang with them.
That's a hang with them. You got it.
But hey, things are bouncing the Padres' way in that game last night. The broken bat hits.
John Jay rolls that up the first base side foul. Jay, Sardinas, and Myers to come to bat here in the 3rd inning for the Padres. Bumgarner chatting with plate umpire Ryan Blakely, saying, "Why don't you let me use that ball? I got a nice little scuff on it."
You can do wonders with a ball that has a little scuff on it.
It's like having a little mud on a golf ball, right? But
there you go.
Different action. Yeah, now he throws that ball out. Bumgarner. So you won't let me have the one I want. I won't take the one you gave me. Let's start over again.
You know, the rule book says the baseball weighs 5 ounces to 5 1/4. So, you know, you feel a baseball in your hand like a pitcher so many times, you can feel a little bit of a difference if it's just got a different feel to it. Some pitchers just throw it out until they get it.
Sometimes it's the stitching.
Yeah.
You like the stitching being up a little bit,
yes,
don't
sir.
you? And sometimes you try to rub the ball in a way so you can raise the stitches, get a little bit of grip, huh?
Absolutely.
Breaking ball. Slap to left field, and Pagan only 2 steps to his left for the first out here in the 3rd.
You see pitchers, you know, they'll get a new baseball and they get some sweat or they get some rosin, they rub it up just to get a good feel, right? And then I've seen pitchers, they actually use their thumb. Oh, yeah, are you wetting one up, Professor?
Oh, no, I would never do that.
They take their thumb and they'll kind of go like this and they'll try to raise the seams a little bit like that, which is illegal because you can't deface a baseball, do anything to.
But how can you possibly pick that up?
Well, yeah, there are guys who can manipulate their thumbs a certain way to where they can raise the seams a little bit to get that feel like this. They'll rub their nail up against the seam like that, like they're rubbing like that. LaTroy Hawkins used to do that. Remember LaTroy?
Yeah, of course.
And you just get a better feel of the seams, so you get behind it and really spin that fastball.
Sardinas singled to left field his first time and scored the Padre run. Myers doubled him to 3rd, and Solardi brought him in with a ground out. Two and 1 to the switch hitting shortstop. That ball hit well to left field, chases Pagan into the corner and makes a catch on the run. Good play by the left fielder. Denying Sardinas extra bases.
That ball hooking off the bat of the right-handed hitting switch hitter Sardinas, and track under the feet, and the extension late. You don't want to extend too soon. Slow you down as an outfielder trying to get to that baseball.
So 2 gone here in the 3rd. Will Myers the batter. Ripped a double over the bag at 3rd his first time. So his most demanding season as a big leaguer, 141 games, only 60 last year, may be taking its toll.
Hey, that's a huge workload, isn't it, Dick?
It is. And as much as you're young and eager and you feel like you can do it, that, along with the pressures of the All-Star, being the ambassador of the Home Run Derby, being on the team, losing Matt Kemp as a man hitting behind him. See where Kemp, he's right at the 100 RBI mark, over 30 home runs. He's really having a sensational August, September in Atlanta.
You know, that's kind of like going from being a dentist who works from 9 to 5, going to a surgeon, emergency surgeon who's on call, has got the pager, waking up at 3:30 in the morning. Hey, we got an emergency surgery. We need you at pronto, stat.
Outside. And the count levels at 2-2 with Solarte due next. A call. Myers didn't agree. Bumgarner with a strikeout is second. The Padres go in order in the third. The last time the Padres had a win streak against the Giants of over 5 games was back in 2010, my first year with the club. Padres would go on to win 7 in a row. That was from April 19th to May 12th. And they're going for their 6th in a row today. After losing their first 9, now they have a 5-game win streak against the Giants. Madison Bumgarner leads it off, and he goes for the down. He's had 12 hits this year, and 3 of them are home runs, 3 doubles, 14 career homers. The San Francisco record for home runs for a pitcher, Johnny Antonelli and Hal Schumacher, way back. Schumacher 15, so he's 1 shy of that. Well, there are the home run hitting Giants, and Bumgarner, if you have a pitcher's category, should have a little place of his own, a little box that says Bumgarner, Mad Bum. Mel Ott, of course, the great Giant of yesteryear, New York Giant. That was Vin Scully's favorite player. He was not getting that pitch on the corner at the knees, that a little off the plate. 2-2.
Yeah, you've got to pitch Bumgarner like he's a number 6 or number 7 hitter. You know, Bruce Bochy has batted him 8th at times.
Fouled at the plate. In the last 3 years, Bumgarner has knocked in 31 runs, so he is an anchor down in that 9th spot. There's his career, a total of 47. Broken bat to shortstop, 2 hops. Sardinas, plenty of time, flips it across. Just jogging to first, Bumgarner for the first down. Top of the order, and Denard Span popped to short his first time. Bay Bridge going over to Oakland. Golden Gate up to Marin County. Two magnificent structures. Just wonder how in the world did they.
No kidding.
The architecture and the workmanship on those. We drove across the Golden Gate a couple of weeks ago, and it's an experience just to be. There's so much about that Golden Gate, and you see the ships going out to sea and those coming back to port. Span hits this one to left. A long run. Dickerson, can he get there? Yes, just on time, and that was a fair ball. Able to put on the brakes. He went slamming into that barrier last night and came away just a little gimpy.
How does Dickerson not bite the dust on this one? He catches that baseball going full bore, and then he's got to contend with those mounds. Okay, catch the ball. Now he's going uphill. That's a good way to blow out a knee.
He stubbed his toes, you saw.
This is not an easy play, folks.
He could have gone tumbling head first into the barrier. Put me back at first base, coach. That's his more natural position. So 2 outs to Angel Pagan, who took a 3rd strike in the 1st inning. Good news for the Giants. One of the teams are in a battle with for a wild card. The Cardinals have lost. Another chance for Dickerson. This one a little easier. And that's a 1-2-3 Giants 3rd. It's 1-1 going to the 4th.
Well, he loves to hit the fastball, right? So Okert's on the hill. First pitch fastball, okay? Get a good read. Oh, 2 fastballs? Okay. I'm just getting dialed in. 3? All right, I'll let you have that one.
1 and 2, a strike away from ending the game.
Oh, no, not another fastball.
Don't throw it there.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Stop the clock. Ryan Schimpf going, as you said, to the deepest part of the ballpark.
Padres start things here in the 4th inning, and there's a blue pit for Solarte. And that play is just killing the Giants. I mean, game after game, it seems the opposition is dunking little soft fly balls into the outfield for singles, and Solarte has one today.
Kind of fooled a little bit off the end of the bat. Span coming in, Panic going out, and perfectly finds a garden spot right before Span.
I mean, when you see game after game here, you realize how big the outfield is. I mean, next to Coors Field, this has to be the biggest outfield in the National League, huh?
It's one of them.
I mean, compared to Petco Park, it's much larger. Pitchers love it, the big park, because it's tougher to hit a home run, but then you get those hits.
Yeah, and as an outfielder, right, you got to play that happy medium. If you play too deep, you get those little dunkers. If you're in too shallow, there's maybe one that splits the gap and then rolls forever out in Death Valley.
Yeah, you hit the right center. That's
yeah.
triple territory. The Giants lead the league in triples because of that. Well, Dickerson trying to break out of an 0 for 18 run. 2-0 the count. And a fly ball to center. That'll chase Span back. And he makes the play. Our Arco top tier player profile. And who are we going to salute today? Top tier player profile, most innings pitched since 2011. Bumgarner, 1,249 innings. Price, Shields, Dickey, Kershaw, Bumgarner.
Yeah, he's a horse. I mean, Clydesdale answers the bell, gives you a chance to win.
A horse that loves horses. In fact, he likes to breed them and train them and ride them and rope them back in his farm in North Carolina. Derek Norris takes strike one.
Wow. He gets a call on the changeup off the plate.
He's had some success against Bumgarner. 10 for 33. Ground ball to third. Nice backhand by Gillespie. Only one play back to first and gets Norris by a step. Thought about going to second and then straightened up and said I better get the sure out at first base as Solarte moves into scoring position.
Well, that saves extra bases, no doubt about it. And you know, when in doubt, get the sure out. After that ball was in the glove and then back to his feet, Gillespie's thinking no way I'm going to get that force at second base. Get the sure out. And that's a long throw. That's a long throw over to first base. Gets him by a half step.
So 2 outs to Adam Rosales, who walked his first time. Inside. So to finish that scoreboard note, the Cubs shut out the Cardinals 7-0. John Lester's 17th win. Rizzo hit 2 homers, 30 and 31 on the year. He's over 100 RBIs. So the Cardinals were just 1 game behind the Giants for the wild card, have lost. The Mets, the other team battling with the Giants as a wild card, will play or are playing the Washington Nationals currently. Dodgers are at Yankee Stadium. We'll keep you up to date on those scores as they come in. 2-0 to Rosales. Pumped what looked to be a fastball, but just at 88, a cutter. So there is the situation. Really a logjam. Giants, Mets, Cardinals. Can't totally count out Miami and Pittsburgh, but time is running out.
It's going to be an interesting series when the Redbirds come to town here.
Pulled
Look
foul
out.
into the crowd. That was wicked. That gentleman tried to barehand it and shaking the bee sting out of his palms. Well, you see a lot of empty seats, but those are sold tickets. This will be the 479th sellout. Healthy crowd nevertheless for a midweek Wednesday game. Up high and a full count. Rosales, who walked the first time. Solarte at second. 2 outs. Strike 3. The slow curveball on the outside corner, and Rosales frozen. 1-1 the score. night are Ram trucks, tools of the trade.
Let's go back to the third inning. You know how they say it's the way the ball bounces? Watch Will Myers at first base when Buster Posey is at third. This ball hit perfectly off the bat of Crawford. Why? The momentum taking Myers to the bag. Okay, there's the out at first. Now he's got to make a throw to Derek Norris. The throw is up, but credit Derek Norris for the throw. The tag down. It was reviewed. It was challenged. He was called safe, but then overturned out. Just a great big play for the Padres. Crucial in that game last night.
Took a little less than 4 seconds for the ball to be hit. Myers to field it, go to the bag, throw to home plate, and the tag made. That was a brilliant double play. And again, it's Myers' ability to throw so quickly and so accurately with such force. And he showed that in the double play turned in the second inning.
You know what else is a key, Dick, as we take a look at that play? You know, in a play like that, a position player can start his throw even before he touches the bag, because the ball's going to stay in his hand, and it's almost as if he's getting up ready to throw and then touching the bag. Yeah. He's already committed that throw. It's not like touch the bag, okay, now I throw. It was all in one swift motion, which was a big key to the play at the plate.
Buster Posey leads off the fourth, and the count is 1-2. But Myers is really able to make his decision, and his throw was so quick and so accurate with so much on it.
Not a forced play at home plate, so you got to get into a general area where your catcher can get it and then get the throw. I mean, the ideal throw would be down by the feet, right? But credit Derek Norris getting that throw that was up and then coming down to the plate to apply the tag.
Posey's average is solid, 288. But the home run total way down at 12. And it's been 8 weeks since he's hit one. Another foul ball down the right field corner. We showed it last night. It's interesting, of all the players in the league, no one sprays it more, uses the entire field better than Posey. He has as many hits to center as he does to left, and just as many to right field. In September, hitting only .213, part of the struggles of the Giants. 2-2. Cleanup hitter is Brandon Crawford. He walked to lead off the second, came around to score. Blowing out toward right field. Popped up. Myers. Not quite. Those temporary seats that have been added here to AT&T Park. Get a few more customers in. The old wall, that would have been an out. A fan dugout beyond the first base Padres home.
You know what that kind of reminds me of? Old Tiger Stadium. I remember going there. The dugouts down the line were dug out. You'd actually walk down into the bullpens at Tiger Stadium. It's kind of cool.
Strike three. Posey knew it. Looking for something else apparently, and for Perdomo his third strikeout. Well, the Major League Baseball schedule was released in the last 24 hours, and the Padres next year will open at Dodger Stadium on April 3rd, and their home opener against these Giants. Let's see, the Royals, Tigers, Twins, Rangers will be interleague opponents at Petco, and they'll go on the road. Twins, White Sox, Indians, and Rangers. Rangers are now the arch rivals, correct?
Yes.
Seattle's no longer our arch rival.
I'm disappointed. I love the great
Seattle.
Northwest.
Yeah, we do. Nothing wrong with Dallas and Arlington, but those Moths, you know, they're big as little chickens flying around.
They wear
taste like them
collars.
too, so they have I've heard.
Yeah, I get to go to Chicago twice to play the White Sox and the Cubs.
They don't play the Tigers at Detroit though, just at home, right? I was going to say maybe you could take me along with you on the Tiger trip, but no Detroit on the road schedule.
Yeah, they're coming to our place.
Crawford lines it to right, and Amarista there for the out. 2 away. Hunter Pence is up. Yeah, that old Tiger Stadium was an addition. The original Brick Stadium, I don't think it was down in a dugout, but yeah, that was unique, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They had to find room to, you had to build a stadium in a city block, and
that's right.
Sometimes there wasn't a lot of room for luxuries like dugouts. Hunter Pence fouls it away.
You know what? I kind of miss that, Dick. I wish when this is a beautiful ballpark. Petco Park, obviously intimate. But I like the old pictures of the old ballparks that are really close. The upper decks are closer to the field rather than being like in St. Louis. The upper deck, the second deck, is way too far away from the field.
Ground ball right side. Myers waits for it and beats Pence to the bag. Another 1-2-3 inning for Luis Perdomo. Completed 4.
Not in particular, no. I got a routine that I go through, and program that stays pretty much the same. We adjust when we have to, but try to keep everything the same and just go out there and compete every 5th day.
I had a chance to talk to Madison Bumgarner and catch up with him earlier on in the series, and I asked if he had done anything differently, seeing as the second half was so vastly different from the Giants' first half. And one of the things that they've been doing is, because they've had so many expectations placed on this team, clubhouse manager for the Giants, Brett Alexander, wants to create sort of a very calming environment in their clubhouse, so he has scattered candles, orange candles, by the way, and they're so incredibly fragrant, but he has candles burning. You would think you were in a spa. But it obviously keeps these guys calm. They like it. They like the environment. Madison Bumgarner said he is not changing a thing, but he also said you always have to watch out for the Padres. They always play us hard. Guys?
All right. Thank you, Julie.
I like that.
Yeah. Amarista leads off for the Padres here in the 5th. Pulls it to first. Easy chance for Belt, and there's one away.
I love the idea of the candles. You walk around maybe your smoking jacket or robe, and then some slippers. You play some light music.
Yeah, some really soft.
Set the tone a little bit. Maybe a pedicure.
Strings. Yeah. Oh, how the game has changed, huh?
Yeah. And here's another guy who loves the candles on the right. Don Arcillo. He'll light a candle in his room. Dave Marcus, I don't know what he's doing back there. And of course, Jesse Agler on the left.
Perdomo grounds it to second. 2 quick groundouts for the Padres here in the 5th inning. Well, you have Madison Bumgarner in that clubhouse with the orange candles. Here's a guy that grew up in a log cabin built by his father near Hickory, North Carolina. And he's a country guy. Right. And I mentioned he must have wondered the first time he walks into the clubhouse, what's going on in here?
That's going against the grain, isn't it?
Orange Grove.
Yeah.
You don't have those down in Hickory.
I would say Madison Bumgarner would have a nice big fireplace by his locker, right? Throw some logs in there, heat it up a little bit. This is calming too. A little fountain. You hear the water.
Yeah, when I was working with Al McGuire, remember the days we had those. There was a real big unit that played bird sounds and water sounds and all, and it would help you to go to sleep. And he loved to sleep on his back on a cold surface. So you could find Al not in bed in his hotel room. He'd be lying on the bathroom tile with that machine going, and the birds tweeting, and here he is in the middle of the bathroom on his back.
Wish I had the chance to meet him.
Oh, well, it's only one of those. No one in second place. John Jay is grounded out and flying to left. Tries to bunt his way on, and that one goes foul.
You think how do you think Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig would react if they walked in the clubhouse and there were candles being burned?
Well, Gehrig being a Columbia man, he might have thought, well, that's, there's something to that. But Babe Ruth, I mean,
Babe would have lit his cigar with one of those candles, probably.
Put his beard down over here and light up the cigar. Bambino. Somehow orange candles and Sultan of Swat just don't go together.
Got a battle here. 2 strikes. Guessing pretty much a breaking ball away, maybe a cut fastball away.
Padres got their run in the first inning. A Sardinius single, a double by Myers, and Solarte's ground out. Only 1 hit since. Solarte's blue pit to right. Giants tied it in the second. Leadoff walk to Crawford, and singles by Belt and Panic to tie it at 1, and then Gillespie hit into that line drive double play with runners at first and second. One 3 hits for the Padres, 1 run, 2 hits for the Giants. And down goes Jay, and another 1-2-3 inning for Madison Bumgarner. We've reached the halfway mark. 4.5 in the books. All right, thank you, Mike. We're at the bottom of the 5th inning. There's the score from New York as the Dodgers and Yankees are scoreless in the 3rd. Belt walks more than any Giant, and he works the count to 2-0. singled his first time. Posey having troubles with the bat after the All-Star break, batting only .219.
Yeah, and as a pitcher, you know that. You try to make him fish for some bad pitches.
Watch out. There's a line drive skidding into the seats behind the Giant dugout. Everyone's okay. It went that way, he says. Count levels at 2-2 to Brandon Belt. And another foul. That's one of the reasons he walks more than any Giant. He fouls a lot of pitches. .91 walks this year, among the league leaders.
Now outfield playing to go the away. Pull on the infield with the shift.
Broken bat. Foul ball, just almost hit the bag at first. Perdomo with that sinking stuff does shatter a lot of bats. Shoestring catches, and you have guys going for the collar. And you got Brandon Belt. That's a great name for a hitter, isn't it? Or a piece of equipment. You wear a Brandon, don't you?
That's a good take right there. That's a sharp breaking ball. Tough to lay off.
Yeah. So he's worked the count 3-2. Ground ball foul.
You know what I like about that last pitch, Dick? He challenged him with the two-seamer in. Not afraid to throw that fastball into Brandon Belt. The two-seamer to bring back on the inside part of the plate. A lot of pitchers will go, okay, 3-2. I'm going to go to my comfort zone. Away, away, away.
Ninth pitch of this at bat. And he gets him. Perdomo wins that battle with a breaking ball. His fourth strikeout.
This was absolutely beautiful. Two-seamer in that he fouls off. Then he goes back to the breaking ball down and in. Perfectly located by Luis Perdomo.
Joe Panik lined a single to center field to knock in the Giants' run in the second. Outside. Changeup. On this sunny afternoon, some of the fans leaving work a little early, joining the crowd here. Major League Baseball. Up to the left side. Got to hurry here. Sardinia's off balance throw in time. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th inning, and we're going to check the Cholula flamethrower.
Well, what's it up to for Luis Perdomo on this day game? 95. That's hot sauce.
Hey, that's hot sauce.
You can let all the fans know that, huh?
That's hot sauce, yo. 95 coming at you. Oh, yeah.
The fans are real close to us underneath the short mezzanine deck here.
I love interacting with the fans here.
See, those are your family down there. They don't care about your hot sauce. Connor Gillespie lined into that double play with 3-6 the last time up. That was big. Giants had scored a run. They had runners at first and second, and Gillespie blistered one, but right to Myers, who wheeled and fired to second for the double play. Bumgarner on deck. To the left side, only one man there, Sardinius, and he's able to shoot that through the shift. Gillespie. A 2-out single will bring up Bumgarner.
Well, I don't know if that was the intent of Gillespie, but it works his way. And while we have a second, most popular way to follow Padres baseball is with MLB.com @Pat, the #1 app for live baseball. Enjoy live look-ins, highlights, game day scores, StatCast, live radio
Take
broadcast.
two. Start over again. That's two.
Get
You're hurrying.
MLB.com.
Don't hurry. Relax.
They need a new printer.
Light a candle. Relax. It's good. It's okay. You don't have to hurry. It's a nice day.
They need a new cartridge. And I mean, how do you read this? Hey, you guys in the truck, if you could show me in the booth. Seriously, come on. Hey, own up to your. There. See, how do you read that?
Not very well.
Yeah.
And you proved that.
Okay, how do you read that?
Well, you got to get in focus first.
Look at, they need a new cartridge down there.
It's in a pear tree. That ball just foul.
A cartridge in a pear tree?
Yeah, that's where they get them, you know.
But anyway, MLB.com
It's a good try.
at bat. It's a great app.
You know what? By not being perfect, you sell more of that app than if you were perfect, because now people are listening. It's like someone who stutters a little bit, you know. Wait till I tell you, and you can't wait for him to tell you, so you're really listening.
Now I have a complex. That's great.
You a complex. 2-1 to Bumgarner.
You know what's great about this app? Seriously, we're playing the Rockies, right? You can go to the Rockies site and go to games where you can get the game within a minute. You see all the highlights of the game in a minute or so.
You can already get our game for Friday night. How's it coming out?
No, like today's game of the Rockies. You can win a lot of money.
2-1 to the Giants pitcher. He does not get shortchanged. 2-2.
Yeah, he's got one thing in mind, one type of swing. All or nothing.
Cole Porter, wasn't it? All or nothing at all?
Oh, good. Peggy Lee, wasn't there? Is that all there is? No? Cole Porter, big fan. Old school.
Inside, and it's 3-2 to the pitcher. You don't want to just lay one in now to Bumgarner. Running start for Gillespie at first. We have Nard Span on deck.
How about a good hard two-seam fastball away here to Bumgarner.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Number 5 for Perdomo. We've completed 5. All tied at 1. Will Myers in the first inning doubles. That moved Sardinas to third, and he scored on this ground out by Jan Solarte. 1-0, but Joe Panik singles the center field. That was in the second inning after Crawford had walked and Belt had moved him to second base, and that tied it up at 1. That's our scoring. A pitcher's duel. Madison Bumgarner for the Giants and young Luis Perdomo for the Padres as we enter the 6th inning. Totals identical. Each team with a run. Each team with 3 base hits.
Hey, we got ourselves a good old-fashioned pitcher's duel going on here.
For young Perdomo to match pitch for pitch with Bumgarner, that's saying something. Sardinas hit the ball hard both times. He singled in the first and sent Angel Pagan all the way to the corner wall to grab his line drive the last time. Myers and then Solarte to follow. That was a nice note in the Padre media information today. This would have been Jerry Coleman's 92nd birthday. A colonel born in San Jose, went to high school here in San Francisco at Lowell High.
Missed the colonel.
And if he were here, we could kid him about his career home run total, 16 in the big leagues. He would have fun with that.
I remember.
I hit 16. Did I even hit one?
I remember Jared called himself Long Ball Coleman.
That ball is hit deep to left, but hooking foul.
I would call Jerry sometime during the offseason just to say hi, and he would call me back and leave a voicemail. Hey, Mark, it's Long Ball Coleman. Just returning your call.
He took some long rides in that airplane, 120 combat missions, 2 wars. Amazing. Up the middle, and Sardinas has a leadoff single. Boy, that's 2 hits in each of the 3 games of this series for Luis Sardinas.
Every weekday morning, Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp go head-to-head on the day's hottest sports topics. We're talking about Undisputed with Skip and Shannon, weekdays at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 a.m. Pacific, only on FS1.
I get it. That graphic now with their heads keep, jerking one side to side.
Right.
You were saying head to head. That's what they're doing.
Good pickup.
That's it. Okay.
I didn't realize that either. Good call.
Nice that they're not going foot to foot.
Toe to toe, right?
Could do that.
Some of the discussions they have, they
that
go
would
toe
be
to toe.
We could go toe to toe.
Yeah.
Myers ripped that double over third base, set up the run in the first inning.
Hey, how about some comfortable at bats for Sardinas against Bumgarner?
And he took a third strike the last time, but the ball on Fox Tracks was clearly outside.
He could be 3 for 3, Sardinas. That was a nice play in left field his last at bat, right?
He's had a really healthy series with the bat.
It's worth noting again, Bumgarner does not have the best pickoff move at first.
His best move is to hold the ball.
Yeah. And he'll slide step. If they feel it's going to be a running situation, he'll slide step rather than a big leg kick. I mean, nobody compares to Clayton Richard, right? His first move to first.
Picked off another on Monday night. A ball, 2 strikes now to Myers. Pick up the extra effort, the verbal.
Yeah, 92 on the fastball there. Last 2 pitches, 91 fastball, 92 fastball.
Started the game grunting only on the breaking pitches. Now it's every pitch. Up to 73 tosses, Bumgarner. And he catches Myers looking again. He's done that 3 times today, starting that curveball outside and breaking it over the outside corner for the strikeout.
Oh, the backdoor breaking ball. Got him looking again.
That's his 231st strikeout this year. And there's Stretch, Willie McCovey, with us today, one of the Giant greats.
Now there's one of the sweetest guys you'll ever want to meet. What a gentleman. Just class through and through. I'm going to go pay him a visit in between innings. Give him a quick hello. Love seeing him over there.
I'll tell you one guy that didn't love seeing him in the batter's box, Don Drysdale.
Yeah.
That was the one pitcher, one hitter that Big D said, man, I just couldn't get him out. Solarte knocked in the run with a ground out to short. Looped a single into right field the last time. Working that outside corner, Bumgarner. High fly ball, shallow center, span, easy chance for the second out. Well, he's got 99 wins, Bumgarner, and here's the fastest in Major League history to 100 wins. How about Bob Feller? Bullet Bob wasn't 23 yet, and it won 100 games. Good and Wood, Prince Hal Neuhauser, Blylev and McLean, Wes Farrell, a great player of yesteryear. Donahue, Pappas, no Pappas on that list along with Drysdale.
That's incredible. What Feller came up was a 19-year-old, I believe, right? Was it 18 or 19?
Might have been earlier. I'm even thinking maybe 17. I mean, you figure if he won 20 games a year, that'd be 5 years, and if you had him at 22, he had to be getting some wins at age 17. Van Meter, Iowa.
Yeah.
Well, Alex Dickerson's due. He's flied out twice to center field today. He did indeed. We're hearing now that he pitched his first major league game at 17 years young.
1936. He went 5-3.
And he was one of the very first when World War II broke out to offer his enlistment. Cooperstown Major League Baseball has named a honor in Feller's name involving those that have served. One strike to Dickerson. Runner goes. Posey's throw. Out is the call. Sardinius thought he made it. Boy, Posey's really got a quick release and throw, and he's nailed a couple of runners here in this series. We'll see if they're going to challenge it. Sardinius, the ball.
Oh, I got
simultaneous though. Is he? Oh. Now he tags. No, it looks like he is safe.
Yeah. Now does he keep the glove on the runner? Does he come up off the bag?
This should be good right here. This angle. See where he.
Oh, he's safe.
Close, but it does appear that that foot hit the bag. You saw the movement in the bag before the tag was applied. There.
Yeah.
The fact that the Giants weren't in a hurry to leave the field kind of gave you a tip that they thought he might have been safe. And that is the call. Yeah, they're getting the decisions quicker and quicker, aren't they? I have to applaud that.
Yep.
So instead of out number 3, credit Sardinius with a stolen base. Let's see if that pays off for the Padres with 2 outs here in the 6th. One ball, one strike. The count at the plate to Dickerson. Now Bumgarner, a tough opponent to break out of a slump. It's the 3rd steal of the year for Sardinius. Bumgarner ahead on the count. 2 strikes. Ground ball through the left side. Sardinius hurrying with 2 outs. Up with the ball is Pagan. Here comes the throw to the plate. Going to be close. He's in there. And the Padres have broken the tie at 2-1. A head first slide by Sardinius. He really picked up speed halfway between third and home to beat the throw from Pagan. And 0 for 19. Alex Dickerson drives in the go-ahead run.
It couldn't happen to a better kid. Alex Dickerson having a rough series. He takes this breaking ball. You know, it's over the plate. It's outer third. He takes it exactly where it is pitched. Now the race is on. Slap of home plate.
And on the throw to the plate, Dickerson alertly takes second base. That brings up Derek Norris. Inside. So the stolen base does become crucial in this inning. That set up the table for Dickerson's RBI single. Don't you just love the challenge system and the replay? I mean, it's just wonderful.
Sure. Hey, that resulted in a run for San Diego. You got the call right.
And you can see, as an umpire, how tough that call is.
Sure.
In full speed. Was he out or safe? We couldn't tell. And then you slow it down to frame by frame by frame, and he's safe. So second base umpire Conroy called what he saw. Two and one. Derek Norris, man at second. And up high is Bumgarner.
Everything's in to Derek Norris. See Bumgarner trying to jam the Padres catcher with that runner in scoring position.
Up to 85 pitches, a long inning for Bumgarner.
Hey, a nice flare to the right side would be nice. Brandon Belt way off the bag at first base.
Fly ball to left, and Pagan cruises in to make the catch. But the Padres break the tie. Single Sardinas, 2 out stolen base, and Alex Dickerson drives in the run with a shot through the left side, and the Padres lead it 2-1. Padres trying to play the role of spoiler for the Giants. They've taken the first 2 and now lead 2-1 here in the 6th inning. As we go to the last half of the 6th, and the top of the order, Span, Pagan, and Posey against Luis Perdomo, working with the lead 2-1. Span has popped up and flied out. 74 pitches for Perdomo. 75 is a strike. Well, I have one regret. As much as I love being at the ballpark, and especially for a day game, it just, that's the way it should be played all the time. But I understand that's a ridiculous notion, but I do love it. Day baseball. Ground balls right side. Rosales at the edge of the grass to throw out Span. But I do regret that we don't have more time today after the game to be on the streets of San Francisco. Have you heard that Uber today is picking up passengers in the automatic cars that
driverless cars
that drive themselves? Can you imagine hailing an Uber, nobody in there, you get in, and how does it know?
That would be strange.
Huh?
That would be very strange, because I believe it's going to get to the point in our lives to where we pick this thing up and we're going to order a car. It's going to pull up on our drive at our house and take us to where we want to go. I believe that. I mean, I'm not saying, I don't know, maybe 50 years from now, to where fewer and fewer people will actually own an automobile because there'll be cars out there to.
They'll just be driving around with nobody in them, and then you just kind of use your
You order
your phone to stop the car, and you get in, and then your phone will tell the car where to go.
Right.
You don't try that on your spouse,
hey,
do
don't get on one of these things and not have a driver.
Well, fortunately, that one isn't moving.
Yeah, it's going to go downhill pretty quickly.
Love the cable car.
Oh, it's great.
Price is going up now. You can almost buy one if you go more than 4 or 5 rides. $7. It used to be 50 cents one time. Of course, so was a root beer and a bag of peanuts was a nickel back in my day. If you saved your money after the workouts in Armada, you could go to Simpson's Pharmacy and get a big bag of peanuts and a root beer for 10 cents.
What was a double feature at the picture show?
25 cents. All black and white. Boy, Technicolor was something. You know, have you seen that Technicolor now?
Absolutely.
Amazing. Another chance for Rosales, ranging to the outfield grass. Just does get Pagan for the second out. Well, Friday's pitching series in Colorado, brought to you by Rancho Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Friedrich against Chatwood. It's the same lineup for the Rockies that we saw at Petco. Jackson will get John Gray, and on Sunday, Cosard against the winningest Rocky pitcher Chad Bettis, 12-7.
Boy, the Rockies, we talked about them. It seems like every year they get off to a good start. This year it was a little longer into the season to where there was a hope that they may have a tendency to get into the playoffs, but that's gone by the wayside.
Posey takes a breaking ball for a strike. He's grounded to short and struck out. Perdomo spinning a beauty, just 3 hits. All singles. Belt, Panic, and Gillespie.
A little hesitation. Did you see that? He got to the top of his leg kick. He kind of
gave it a little herky jerky.
He's going Johnny Cueto on us a little bit there.
Yeah, the Padres were fortunate in this series. You bring up Cueto, that he has been a nemesis. Foul back.
Here's the previous pitch we're talking about. Watch when he gets to the leg kick up the top and kind of. Oh, just a little bit of a pause there. Yeah.
A little rock-a-bye, baby.
Kind of disrupting the timing a little bit of Buster Posey.
He's only 23, learning with every pitch. Oh, Posey wanted to, but the ball was too far outside.
And consistently, where have the Padre pitchers gotten Buster Posey to either strike out, ground out, down and away, breaking stuff, fastballs, up and out of the zone by design, up around the lid of the cap. You got to go way up.
He's a terrific fastball hitter. Pulls that one to third. 2 nice hops to Solarte. Throw across. 1-2-3 inning, all ground balls for the sinker balling Luis Perdomo. Juan Marichal, the high kicking Hall of Famer of the Giants. Bill Howe plays of the game. Sardinas outer safe called out, overruled safe, and Alex Dickerson with a big play, the single through the left side. Sardinas sprinting for home, and the head first slide to give the Padres a 2-1 lead. 6 innings complete. Bumgarner back to the mound. Rosales, Amarista, Perdomo scheduled here in the top of the 7th. Breaking ball hangs high. The Padres haven't swept San Francisco here at AT&T in 7 seasons. My first year, May 2010, they swept the Giants. Hopped up, back of the plate and out of play.
Yeah, that was a 90-win season for the Friars, 2010.
Came down to that last series here in the Sunday game, final game of the year. If the Padres had won, they would have tied the Giants for a playoff, 1-game playoff, but the Giants prevailed against Matt Latos. It's as close as I was able to come. Don Orsillo, we're going to hand the baton to him, and hopefully the winning seasons will go with it. He's used that pitch a lot. Starts the breaking ball outside, tries to draw it over the corner, misses that time.
And then just when you're looking for that pitch, he'll bring it even inside to the right-handed hitters, down by the back foot.
He got a piece of that, fouled into the glove of Posey. 2-2. '90th pitch from the left-hander. Won 18 games each of the last 2 years, 14 so far this year. Popped up, that's going to make it into the seats off the first base side. Well, actually into the Padre dugout. Amarista waits his turn. These Giants will be back at Petco for 4 games, September 22nd through the 25th. Hope you're making your ticket plans. Outside again, trying to nibble at that outside edge.
Now that's a hat.
Well, they've won 3 World Series titles.
Every year.
Even years, that's right. 10, 12, 14. Pulled to third and by Gillespie down the left field line, and on his way to second is Rosales. A stand-up double. Padres have a chance to add on.
Well, Professor, a 3-point day, 2-point day. The strikeout you took Adam Rosales today, and he helps you out right here and pick the stick with a double down the line.
Yeah.
Just out of the reach of Gillespie.
Yeah, about 10 more of those and 20 Grand Slam homers.
Hey,
I'm right back in this thing.
You're over 200.
That's all I wanted to do, not be totally embarrassed.
I'm rooting for you, and just out of the reach of Gillespie at third base.
That's a big run. Let's see how the Padres play it here. Amarista, and step off by Bumgarner to see if Amarista was going to square. Did not tip his hand. He's flying to left and grounded to first. With the pitcher due next, he's swinging. And that out of play. Nice to get that runner over to third with 1 out, and at least give Andy Green the option of using Perdomo in a safety squeeze. Roll to the right side. That's as good as a sacrifice. Dealt with a unassisted put out. Rosales to third. Perdomo, who has 1 RBI this year, a chance to double that and give himself a little pad.
And you see the high fives. Well, you know, it's a ground out to first, but what did he do? He tried to hook that ball, purposely hook that ball to the right side to get that runner over, as you mentioned, Dick. That's just good hitting. Hey, and Luis Perdomo, he's no slouch himself. He can make some contact, and the Giants will bring the infield in.
He is struck out and grounded to second. that's why he's been using that pitch.
Yeah.
Outside, and then still outside, but called a strike.
I just went Bud Collins on you, Professor.
It's okay. It's okay. Arthur Collins, I miss him. What a lovely man. And now 0-2. So a couple of breaking balls to jump in front of Perdomo, 2 strikes. You figure he's going to try to get him to chase a fastball out of the zone.
Judging by the look of Skipper Green, does he kind of look upset a little bit? Maybe
quizzical, huh? What's going on up there?
Yeah, maybe. And I'm just guessing. Did he maybe miss a sign maybe of like a little push bunt down the.
And now Belt with a chance and makes the catch in front of the Padre dugout. So they're not going to add with an out. It's up to John Jay.
I'm not saying that was the case, Dick, but that's what's great about baseball. A nice little push bunt early down the first base line for a safety squeeze might have been in order.
And let's see if Andy goes over to Perdomo. Of course, he's more concerned about Perdomo doing his job on the mound. He doesn't want to upset him now if he did miss a sign. That can be done later.
And it's just speculation on my part.
That's why you're
part
paid.
of the discussion.
You're paid to speculate. First guessing, not second guessing. John Jay 0 for 3, ground out, flied out, struck out. Well, Bumgarner getting all the close calls. I guess you're a star pitcher. You earn that. Brad Hand getting ready down the right field side. Fastball at 91. Padres leading 2-1. Runner at third, 2 outs. Just a little low. Jay with his RBI total on his back, 24. In the dirt, and Bumgarner doesn't throw many of that breaking balls in the dirt. I mean, he does the outside in, tries to pick at the corners, but doesn't bounce a lot of pitches. That was a rare occasion. And 2-2 now to Jay. Rosales down the line at third. And the breaking ball bends outside. Full count. Luis Sardinas, who's been the hitting star of the series for the Padres with 6 hits and 4 runs scored. 2 of those hits today, 2 runs scored today on deck. High, ball 4 on the 102nd pitch of the afternoon for Bumgarner. So first and third for the Padres. Sardinas steps up. Second walk allowed by Bumgarner. Our game today, man, bright sunshine. It is a beauty, isn't it? Presented in HD by Sony. Dave Righetti, the pitching coach, out to chat with Bumgarner. And Corey Guerin begins to throw for the Giants. The Giants have 15 pitchers available for Bruce Bochy. They've expanded their roster, adding even another Derek Law, joining the club off the DL. And it's his birthday today. He's 26. So Luis Sardinas lined a single to left and scored in the first. Sent left fielder Pagan all the way to the warning track deep in the left field corner to catch his line drive in the third. Singled up the middle in the sixth, stole second, and scored the tie-breaking run on the single by Alex Dickerson. batting right-handed. 2 for 3 today. 2 runs scored. First and third with 2 outs for the Padres here in the 7th. And continues to get loose down in the right field corner. Crawford, Pence, and Belt, 2 of those scheduled to hit in the 7th left-handed, so that perhaps the thinking of Green to get the lefty ready. Line drive, left field, another hit for Sardinas, and in comes Rosales to score. It's 3-1. Have yourself a series. Luis Sardinas, 7 hits. He's scored both runs, and a 3-hit afternoon against Madison Bumgarner.
Very comfortable at the plate. I mean, he's hitting everything. He's found himself in the hole a couple of times, but he's fought off some pitches and finds himself on base again, and looks like that's going to be all for the left-hander.
So the Padres have knocked Madison Bumgarner out of the game here in the 7th inning. A run scored with 2 outs. It was Rosales leading it off with a double. The walk to Jay with 2 gone. First and third, and Sardinas with the RBI single. 3-1 Padres, and the hand for the pitching star of the Giants, Madison Bumgarner, making the slow walk home. Padres baseball brought to you by Saquon Casino. Sign up for the Padres club card today. By Jack in the Box. Try his new Smoky Jack. Taste it before it's gone. And by Mercury Insurance. We're on a mission to save you money. Log on to mercuryinsurance.com today. AT&T Park, McCovey Cove in the foreground. Some of the naval fans there waiting for a possible souvenir, a wet one. As Will Myers steps in against Corey Guerin, with runners at first and second, and a run home for the Padres here in the 7th to make it 3-1. And our pitching change brought to you by El Cajon Ford. Myers doubled in the first inning, and he struck out the last 2 times. Here's Guerin's numbers.
Well, a hard sinker from Guerin. Pretty decent splits right there. Almost a strikeout per innings pitch. His 52nd game. Fastball, slider, change up about 92. Some arm side sink from the right-hander. Works very slowly.
Very slowly. And his first pitch bends away. Ball 1.
Ouch. Giants bullpen, Dick?
Fighting for a pennant. It's really let Bruce Bochy and the team down. Well, last night was a classic example, a 4-1 lead going into the 9th. Padres scored 5.
And the Giants have Josh Osich, left-hander, up in their bullpen.
Here's another Tommy John candidate. Guerin, not Osich, but Guerin last year before, missing most of the action. 2 on, 2 out. And the short arms that fastball. 2-0.
Kind of a short armor, funky delivery.
First pick by Atlanta, 2007 draft in the 4th round. Giants signed him a year ago to a minor league contract and made the big club. And he's taken about 3 minutes to throw 2 pitches. Maybe a fat one is on its way. Special delivery to Myers. High fly ball right field. Pence up a couple of steps. That's it for the Padres in the 7th, but they add to their lead. Going to the stretch half of the 7th, it's 3-1. Game, and shortstop Luis Sardinas singled in the 1st inning, came around to score the 1st run, lined out to left, singled up the middle and scored in the 6th inning, and just lined an RBI single to left field to make it 3-1. He has accounted for all 3 runs today. Luis Sardinas, 7 hits in the series.
Looking good, huh? A comfortable at bats, and
get him a double burger there at Carl's Jr.
Yeah, happy start.
Down ball back to the mound, fielded well by Perdomo. He's going to give the put out to Myers. Remember earlier against Brett Wallace, he ran all the way to first base. Wallace was waiting for the toss and was somewhat perplexed as to wait a minute, what am I doing here?
Well, you can't ask for a more perfect situation in the 7th inning. 1 pitch, 1 out for Luis Perdomo.
8 ground ball outs, the last 4 outs on the ground. Hunter Pence has struck out and grounded to 3rd. And rips that one into left field for a base hit. Only the 4th hit allowed by Perdomo this afternoon, all singles. So he keeps his hitting streak alive, now 8 consecutive games.
Hey, no problem with that. Getting ahead, a good pitch early, have them earn their way on. give up a grounder here? Sure, it finds a hole once in a while, but he'll take that chance. How does he start him off? I'm guessing just a good old-fashioned two-seamer. See, he wanted it down and away, but it leaked in.
And with that base hit, it appears that Andy Green's going to make a move to, yes, there's the signal for the left-hander Hand to come in to pitch to the left-handed hitting Brandon Belt. So breaking the action here at AT&T, the Padres up by 2. The complete game, the only Padre to do so, goes 6 1/3. Only walked one man, and that man came around to score. Only 4 singles allowed by Perdomo.
Yeah, he's been aggressive in the zone, catching the Giants hitters off guard at times, and with the way the offense has been going for San Diego, knocking Bumgarner out of the game, trying to pad that 2-run lead, hold that 2-run lead. The left-hander, Brad Hand, and there's some coaching right there. Very proud of him, Darren Balsley.
Yeah, that whole combination. You think about spring training as the runner goes. A throw by Norris is not in time. Pence will steal you a base. And he's in scoring position now on the first delivery from Hand. That was predetermined. He just knew that he was going to go on the very first pitch.
On the shoulder, but the foot is on the bag. See, you got it. And I know that, you know, Solarte was kind of off balance off the bag, but you know, if he keeps, see, he's out in front of the bag, so it'd be kind of hard to keep the glove on the runner, because he did for an instant there come off the bag.
Pitch was a strike at the plate to Brandon Belt. No shift this time with a man at second, and that's in there. Breaking ball.
You know what bugs me?
What?
Is when a pitcher makes a great pitch like Brad Hand just did, and then Brandon Belton and like sits there and like shakes his head like, oh, how dare you call a strike against me? It's a darn good pitch. Dotted that outside corner.
Got him swinging.
Grab some pine.
That is the 99th strikeout this season for Brad Hand.
So what do? You dot the outside corner. You just put it out there a little bit more. He's got to protect. Goes down swinging.
The 99 strikeouts, 4th most among all major league relievers, 2nd most in the National League. So quite a year for Hand. And they have a pinch hitter, not Tomlinson. Yes, it is. Kelby Tomlinson is going to bat for Panic. Bruce Bochy counters with a right-handed hitter against the lefty Hand. Two outs. Pence with his first stolen base of the season, believe it or not, at second base. I guess you have to believe it. He just did it. Panic was 1 for 2, knocked in the only Giants run. Strike one. And the 99 strikeouts for Hand this year are the most by a Padres reliever in a single season since Heath Bell struck out 102 9 seasons ago. It's been an extraordinary year for Brad Hand. How he was available. Goodness. Line foul.
Well, Tomlinson having a great year versus left-handers, hitting .351. That's in 57 at-bats prior to this at-bat. And Joe Nathan. Wow. The 40-year-old right-hander just acquired by the Giants, tried to help out the bullpen.
Only 40?
Yeah.
Let's see what Hand has in store here. 2 strikes the count. Got him swinging. Oh, how about number 100? The century mark. Strikeouts for Brad Hand. He comes in and fans Belt and Tomlinson, and the Padres retain their 3-1 lead. All right, thank you, Mike. We go to the top of the 8th inning. Jan Solarte is swinging, and a fly ball lifted to left. Pagan there fighting the sun. Oh boy, he really was having trouble. Able to cradle the catch for the first out. Joe Nathan, the veteran, on the mound for the Giants as they try to fortify that crumbling bullpen. He's making his 7th start with the Giants. Well traveled.
Had his contract purchase from AA Richmond. That was back on September 3rd. Added to the roster. 16-year veteran Joe Nathan. 6-time All-Star. He's had a good career.
Started with the Giants back in 1999. 5 years here, then Minnesota for 6 years, 7 years, Texas a couple of years, last year with the Tigers. Dickerson knocked in the big run in the 5th inning to broke a 1-1 tie. 2-out single to left field that checked Sardinas in. Played out to center the other 2 times.
Well, I've just been handed a little nugget by our statistician Dave Feldman, who does a great job. There's only 2 active players to play at Candlestick Park. One is Adrian Beltre, and the other guy is on the mound, Joe Nathan.
This park was opened in 2000, so you have to go back to 1999 for the Candlestick appearance. Boy, that does tell you the age of Nathan. A lot of players, when they first come to the big leagues, wear their age on their back, and Nathan's 74. Not quite yet. Ryan Buchter is in line to pitch the 8th inning. Inside. Full count. Dickerson with Norris due next.
Joe Nathan coming back from a second Tommy John surgery in his career. 92 on that last fastball.
And he walked him. 1 out walk to Dickerson. See if the Padres can fortify that 3-1 lead. Staying in the game is Tomlinson at second base.
Hey, football fans, Chargers Insider is back. Today the crew breaks down week 1 and previews the home opener against the Jaguars. Chargers Insider. It airs today after Padres Live on Fox Sports San Diego. Mike Pomerantz does such a great job on that show. You don't want to miss it. How you doing?
Chargers and Tennessee on Sunday at Qualcomm. Trying to recover after that disastrous loss in Kansas City. Had it all but won, but lost it in overtime to the Chiefs. Norris 0 for 3. Has grounded out twice and flied to left. Javier Lopez, the left-hander, jogging down into the left field bullpen area for the Giants. Buchter continues to throw in the Padres pen. Good breaking ball. Infield balanced up the middle, looking for a ground ball double play chance. This is upstairs.
There's Javier Lopez, the seasoned left-handed veteran.
Good number to wear here in San Francisco. 49.
There you go.
The old gold rush to the west, the old 49ers, 1849. That's where it all really got going. I bet this San Francisco area was something during the gold rush, huh?
A lot of good times, I'm sure.
Oh, I can hear the music now. See the ladies dancing. Order up a sarsaparilla.
There you go.
Did you ever have a sarsaparilla?
No.
What is it anyway?
I don't know. Sounds good though.
Does it?
You know, you rope your horse off out front of the bar and you swing the double doors open to the bar and
everyone's partner.
Yeah, I'm sure it really smelled really well too back then in that saloon. Across the street, what a bath, shaving a bath for what, 25 cents maybe?
Shaves over there. I wouldn't like the idea of having my neck back and a guy shaving my larynx. 1-2. Strike 3. Oh, another pitch off the plate called strike 3. 2 away.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the San Diego Padres. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the San Diego Padres.
So 2 outs to Adam Rosales, who has walked, struck out, doubled, and scored. Dickerson still at first base with 2 gone. Almost got him. Off day tomorrow in Denver, and Friday we'll be with you at 5 o'clock here on Fox Sports San Diego with Padres Live pregame show. Christian Friedrich against his former Rocky teammates against Tyler Chatwood.
I love that.
Doesn't get the call that time.
Yeah, I love that little sign that we just shot out there at the Polo Grounds, Scottsdale Stadium, the spring home for the Giants, and where they used to play in New York, and Candlestick Park. Nice little feature they have here at AT&T Park.
Rosales with a 2-0 count. Man, generous calls from plate umpire Blakely.
Yeah.
Another pitch off the plate according to Fox Straps. A wide strike zone.
Hey, Cooperstown, you've been there, Dick.
Yeah, just a short haul.
Polo Grounds, 2,900 miles. Scottsdale Stadium. Seal Stadium.
That's inside, 3-1. Cow Palace did a hockey game. LA Blades against the San Francisco Seals at the Cow Palace.
That's going way back.
Yeah, 1966, 67.
That's where the Warriors used to play, right before they
everything
went
had
across.
boxing, big boxing matches were there. I didn't see one cow, not one, not even a Hereford. All 4. Second time today that Rosales has walked. So a couple of free tickets from Nathan with 2 outs, 2 on, and it's Alexi Amarista.
Yeah, Padres got to add on here. Oh, looks like Poach is going to make way to the mound.
He's got a lot of pitchers, so they didn't come here to sit around, he says. Lopez being called in, lefty against lefty. Padres a little short-handed on the bench, so we see if they have a right-handed chance.
Trying to add on a 3-1 lead. Major League Baseball returns Saturday with 2 huge games. First on Fox, Big Papi and the Red Sox battle the rival Yankees at 9:30 a.m. Pacific. Then on FS1, the Tigers collide with AL Central leading Cleveland at 12:30 Pacific. Or watch both games live on Fox Sports Go.
And then join us at 5, make it 4:30 Saturday, 4:30, game 2 in Colorado. Amarista has flied to left and grounded twice to the first baseman belt. Padres with runners at first and second. Joe Nathan walking both Dickerson and Rosales. A 3-1 San Diego lead here in the 8th. There's a strike. Veteran Lopez, now 39 years of age.
He just slings it up there from the left side. Low 3/4 arm angle. 63rd game.
He's the definition of a specialist. 62 games, but only 24 innings. He just comes in to pitch to that one left-handed batter so often. Center field, Span back a couple of steps, and the inning is over. Padres leave 2. Bottom of the 8th we go, 3-1. Baseball brought to you by Smart and Final, now with 25 stores across San Diego. By Petco, where the healthy pets go. And by your San Diego County Lexus dealers. Yeah, one of the many tourist attractions, the snaky ride down Lombard Street here. More wiggles than that mile of road than any place in the country, they say.
Beautiful.
I wouldn't want to be an owner of one of the homes along there, though.
Yeah, that's Michael Odino driving that car right there. Our director.
Ryan Buchter comes in to pitch here in the 8th inning, and the pinch hitter, A-Ray Adrianza, will have another pinch hitter to follow. Jorge Hernandez, who had 3 hits and a home run last night, is in the on-deck circle. Two strikes quickly on Adrianza.
Well, this is part of the game where I think the Giants kind of lack is their bench, kind of weak on the bench.
Switch hitter is much better right-handed hitting, 10 for 22 this year. That just misses. There's Hernandez. Rockies singled twice and homered last night. Over but low, 2-2. Padres with 3 runs and 7 hits. Giants 1 run and 4 hits off Luis Perdomo. 6 1/3 shutout innings for 23-year-old Perdomo today. 1 run scored, excuse me. And there is strike 3. 1 away.
Well, it's crunch time as we get late. A 2-run lead, and Ryan Buchter has been pounding the strike zone into the right-handed hitters all year long. Got him looking.
So the line on Perdomo, 6 1/3, 1 earned run, 4 hits, 1 walk, and 5 strikeouts. Hernandez has not had a lot of at bats, but has produced when asked to step into that batter's box. Ball 1. Just 28 at bats and 10 hits. 3 of those last night. Two and 0. Leadoff hitter Span on deck. Josh Osich is throwing in the Giants pen. That's a strike. Lays it in at 92. Two and 2.
Oh, the sneaky fast 92-mile-an-hour heater.
$41,183. The attendance announced at AT&T today. 479 consecutive sellouts. Longest run in the majors. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. So Buchter comes in and follows the pattern of Brad Hand. Hand works to 2 men, strikes both of them out. In comes Buchter, 2 men, 2 strikeouts.
Another fastball right down the middle, challenge him, and he gone.
So looking ahead to next year, the schedule announced. Won't be long. You can buy your tickets for 2017 the opener against the Giants on April 7th. Royals, Tigers, Twins, and Rangers come into Petco and on the road. So the American League teams they'll visit the Padres. Partner Mark Grant happy he'll get to go twice to Chicago, the Cubs series and a White Sox series.
North side, south side.
Span is popped up, flied out, grounded out. A ball and a strike. Two and 1. Misses low. 3 and 1.
And not too many deep counts with Ryan Buchter this year as Brandon Morrow, the right-hander, heats up.
This is a delicate 3-1 lead for the Padres. Giants looking for a base runner and 1 swing and they're even with the Padres.
They've pitched well to Span this series. Got to keep him off base.
Make him hit his way on. But it's outside, ball 4. That'll bring the tying run to the plate. Perdomo only walked 1 man. So this is the second free pass for the Giants today from Padre pitching, and Darren Balsley out to talk with Buchter.
Always a little refresher course, and to give that pitcher a little bit of a break as Derek Norris just kind of listening in as Darren Balsley's doing all the talking right here.
The hitter is the switch hitting Angel Pagan against Perdomo. Struck out, flied out, grounded out. He homered last night. And that was against Clayton Richard, batting right-handed. His 11th of the year. Misses with the first delivery. Buster Posey would be next. Brandon Morrow throwing in the Padres bullpen.
Fastball away right here.
Got him. And Myers makes the tag, and that's a big pickoff. Span is out. He was going to try to steal and was out by a mile. They really caught him early. He's complaining that it was a balk, but he just left too soon, and that'll end the inning. Baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. Looking ahead to the Rocky series beginning Friday night, their sensational third baseman Nolan Arenado against the Padres. They've done a good job, 1 for 19. DJ LeMahieu battling for the National League hitting title, 75 hits in 45 games since the All-Star break. One of the hot hitters in the National League, second half. And Charlie Blackmon, a couple of home runs at Petco in the 4-game series. His 14 homers right up there with the best since August 1st.
And here's that last pickoff. Now watch Ryan Booker. Okay, he's getting the sign. I want you to focus on the foot that's in contact with the rubber. Okay, he comes set right there. Watch, the heel will come up. Oh, that's a balk. I think he was caught in between a little bit, wanting to step back and off. But once he moved that heel, that's a balk. So they got away with one right there.
Top of the 9th inning. Josh Osich comes in for Bruce Bochy, the 5th pitcher used today for the Giants. Brett Wallace pinch hitting for Buchter. And then it'll be at the top of the order, Jay and Sardinas. Line drive through the shift into right field for a base hit. Wallace delivers a pinch single. Padres would like to pick up an insurance tally here in the ninth. It's the 9th hit of the afternoon for San Diego. Make that 8 hits. 3 of them from Luis Sardinas, who is on deck.
Edwin Jackson going into first base to pinch run for Brett Wallace.
And Jackson then will be on the mound on Saturday in the middle game of the 3 games up in Colorado. John Jay walked the last time, 0 for 3. Hits that one to left field. It's been a busy day for Pagan out there. Boy, again, he's really fighting the sun. You could see the reflection off the glasses. 1 out. And here's the hitting star coming up, Luis Sardinas, as Brandon Maurer begins to loosen. Sardinas, 3 hits and a line out. He scored twice and knocked in the other run in the 3-1 advantage.
Due up for the Giants. You saw Ofer wearing the collar. Pagan, Posey, Crawford. for the Giants in the ninth.
Sardinas hits it hard again, but to Pence in right field. 2 away. And Will Myers will be the hitter. Derek Law just activated today, and it's his birthday, is throwing in the bullpen. Apparently we're going to see him on his birthday as Bruce Bochy makes the trudge out to the mound and is going to bring in Law. No pun intended, in Law. Not related. Mr. Grant.
Oh, that's absolutely beautiful, isn't
that lovely? How bad can life be when you have something like that working for you? Well, you have to try to sell it someday. I guess that you want to look for some negative.
Yeah.
That is a beautiful ship. So on his birthday, Derek Law, 26 years old today.
Well, Law trying to hold the 3-1 deficit for the Giants. Nice to see if Will Myers can put a charge into one with 2 outs and clutch hitting, at least score one more run here in the ninth.
Bends one outside. Well, with a 1.94 ERA, the hitter's batting only .212 against him. Edwin Jackson, the pinch runner at first base with 2 outs. And the Padres trying to add to their 3-1 lead. Tough part of the lineup coming up for the Giants in the bottom half of the ninth. Pagan, Posey, Crawford. Anyone gets on, Hunter Pence. Low with the breaking ball.
That's probably Law's secondary pitch that he throws most of the curveball, along with that fastball, the slider, and the changeup. Averages about 94, low 90s on the fastball.
Skips another. 3-1. Solarte waits a possible chance to swing the stick again.
Fastball away. See if we can wear out right center field here.
Souvenir at second deck. So Jackson will get in the blocks and take off on the next delivery. Padres trying to break through in a day game, final game of the series. Have not had much success this year. This would be a nice one to sweep the Giants, but 3 big outs to go. Line down the right field line, but foul. Just to underline that point, they're 14 and 33 day games this year. The finale of a series, 46 series, they've won only 10. But they've won 5 in a row against the Giants, and trying to sweep them here at AT&T, something they haven't done in 7 years. 3 outs left. Certainly would help if Myers can keep something going here in the ninth. Jackson ready to go from first again. Strike 3 call. Myers for the 3rd time strikes out, and for the 3rd time he's not happy with the vision of plate umpire Ryan Blakely. And they hurry to get him back into the dugout. TNT have a 3-1 lead, bottom of the 9th inning. And Brandon Maurer will try to bring his Maurer power to a tough part of the Giants lineup as he makes his 14th appearance in a save situation. Has been successful on 9 of 14. His record is 0-4 with a 4.50 overall ERA. Pagan will lead it off. He's had a hit in 6 tries. Posey is 2 for 6, and Crawford 1 for 2. Pagan 0 for 3 in the game. He struck out, flied out, grounded out.
They've done pretty well against Pagan, 2 for 12 in the series. Kudos to the Padres pitching staff.
A little off speed there, huh?
1-0 cambio from Maurer Power pulling the string.
Padres in shutting out the Giants 4-0 on Monday night allowed only 5 hits. Right back with a breaking ball, 1-2. Only 4 singles for the Giants today. There's the first fastball at 97, high and away. Straight up defensively, no shift on Pagan. Swing and a miss, strike 3. That's 5 consecutive strikeouts by Padres relievers. Well, check that. There was the walk and the pickoff in between, but
he went up and away to Pagan. Can't get on top. Look at how far behind he was on that swing.
And struck out the 2 men he faced, then booked her the first 2 he faced, then the pickoff, and now the strikeout of Pagan. Here's Posey. Strike 1. 96, an easy 96. Yeah, some of the fans griping at Ryan Blakely, who's been very generous, certainly both sides. Right field hit well, but Amarista was playing deep, and there's the second out.
Can O corn.
Down to their final out, it's Brandon Crawford. He's grounded out twice and struck out. Check that. He has walked and scored, lined out and grounded out. Run came in the second inning. He led off with a walk against Luis Perdomo after Penn struck out. Belt singled, and then Joe Panik singled up the middle to knock in the Giants' only tally. Pours in a strike. And another breaking ball.
First pitch changeup, second pitch slider, quickly hit 0-2.
Meanwhile, the Dodgers and Yankees are scoreless in the fifth. Washington leads the Mets 1-0 in the ninth. St. Louis has lost to the Cubs. Other teams involved with the Giants for the playoff wild card. Fouled away. So the Giants were the worst record in the National League since the All-Star break, and they thought they got themselves back on the rails in Arizona, sweeping the Arizona Diamondbacks, the first 3-game sweep since the All-Star break, and now trouble again. And they're one strike away from being swept by the Padres for the second time since the All-Star break. Remember, they lost all 3 games at Petco immediately after the All-Star game. Dangerous Hunter Pence waiting a turn. 2 strikes on Crawford. Wastes that one outside. 97. Padre pitching with 10 strikeouts today. One hopper backhanded by Solarte. The long throw in time, and the Padres have brought out the broom and swept the Giants at home. How about that? Final today at AT&T. San Diego 3, San Francisco 1. Here's Mike Pomerantz.